Hello, it's me. It's it's been a while. Hope y'all are doing well. Yes, this is a tutorial video. I've been saying for 3 years that I'm never gonna do a tutorial video, but here we are. If you are here and you couldn't care less what I have to say, timestamp is in the description below if you'd like to just get to the tutorial. So, yeah. Just a couple quick things I wanted to talk about before we dive in. Namely, I moved out. I have my own place now, so that's pretty cool. It's made 2020 like one of the best years, I think, of all time. I think you guys can probably relate. But for real, I hope you all are doing well. Hope this year has gone as good as it can for you. So yes, this is a tutorial video. I know it's been like 3 years since I first put out Violet. In my mind, it's like, even if it helps one person learn this song, then like it's a win, you know? Like, people might discover Hippocampus down the line and go through the same process that y'all have, you know, been through, discovering them, wanting to play their stuff, that kind of thing. So, yeah, it's worth it in my mind. So, I'm gonna shut up now. Let's learn Violet. So yeah, before we get started here, just want to say that I'm going to break the song down into sections of like intro, verse 1, chorus, that kind of thing. And then we'll go over both Nathan's and Jake's parts for each of those. I'll put timestamps to each part in the description. Maybe you're just here to try to knock down one part. So be sure to check that out. And yeah, let's get into it. All right, let's get started. First we have the intro. All right, let's get started with Nathan's parts. It's mainly going to be high octaves on the A and G strings. Alright, so for Nathan's parts on the intro, we're basically just going to be playing octaves. We kind of sit out the very beginning while Jake just kind of plays an E major 9. The rest of the band sits out, waits for him to switch to the C sharp minor, and once that happens, then we come in with those octaves. The octaves, basically, we're going to be starting on 14 with the A and 16 with the G, just like this. And we're going to be, there's 4 different octave shapes that we're going to use for this part. This part is all timing on when you're going to be switching those. So basically, we're starting on 14, 16, sliding up to 16, 18. And then after a couple times, I'll just give you all the shapes here. We're going to be doing 11, 13 as well, in addition to 9, 11. So basically, here's the timing between those 4. 16, 18, down to 11, 13, 9, 11, and then that just kind of slides immediately back up into the 11, 13. Back to 14, 16. And it's that same kind of timing. Alright, let me play the whole thing through for you slowly so you can just get an idea of when they change and kind of how it leads into the verse. So here we go, starting on the 14, 16. And then it just rings out there into the verse. So for the intro here, Jake is going to be playing chords for the most part. You can hear in the song that he starts on a chord, and then when he switches to another one, that's when I come in on the actual cover. But if you're playing from the very top, you're going to be starting with this chord here, which is an E major 9, and it starts on the 7 on the B string with your ring finger, 8 on the G string, and then you're going to come up and hit 6 with your index finger on the D, and then 7 on the A. So it's going to look just like this. And you're safe to play every string here. Actually, because the low E gives it a nice little voicing. So this is the chord that the song starts on. And then you're going to be switching to a C sharp minor inversion. And basically how this looks, here, let me get a better position here. Basically how this looks is you're going to be playing this 5 on the B, 4 on the G, and then 4 on the A, and you're going to be muting the D string with your middle finger here. So it's going to be just those 3 notes. Then that goes to an A major 7, which is 2 on the B, 1 on the G, 2 on the D. We're going to be playing every string except for the low E here. So for the intro, the entire intro, that's going to sound like this. And that's it. Alright, up next we have the first verse. Nathan here is going to be playing a little kind of hook into kind of some arpeggiated shapes. So let's get into that. Alright, so Nathan's parts for verse 1, very simple, kind of just a very simple lead part into some arpeggiation. So let's get right into it. We're going to be starting on the 7 on the A string here. And we're just doing some single note stuff here, so it's going to be 7 on the A up to 9 on the A, and then 6 on the D, 9 on the G, down to 8 on the G. So all together, it's going to sound like this. And then after that, we're going to be playing just again 3 notes. We're basically going to be have the same C sharp minor shape that Jake has in the intro, but we're just going to be plucking the strings here. So it's that same shape as C sharp minor, and we're just going to be playing it like this. And then we're going to move down to the A major 7 shape that we learned in Jake's parts in the intro, and do the same thing. We're just going to pluck 3 strings, the A, the G, and the B. I forgot to mention that's the same strings that you pluck for the C sharp minor, A, G, B. So altogether, that's going to sound like this. And then that is going to repeat, but with one minor difference. We're actually going to play out the E major 9 after we do this first little. So how it's going to sound is this. And you can think of Nathan's verse part here as having 4 parts. So we do what I just taught you twice, and then we're actually going to switch to kind of an arpeggiated part. Basically how that's going to look is you're going to have 7 on the B, 8 on the G, and 6 on the D. So just like this. And basically this part is going to be 3 different shapes, and we're just going to arpeggiate 3 strings for each of them. So this first one, it's going to be D, B, G. So this is how it's going to sound. And then right here, we're going to move down to that C sharp minor shape that we learned in Jake's intro part, which is just like this. And if you don't remember that, just head back to that. And then we're playing A, B, G here. And same thing, same kind of format for the arpeggiation. And then down to the A major 7, which we also learned in the intro. So from the top of that part, it's going to sound like this. Then basically we repeat that one more time, and then we're into the chorus. All right, Jake here is going to be playing kind of the same chords that we played for the intro. All right, Jake's parts for the first verse is actually very simple because we're going to be sitting out for half of it. We're going to be sitting out for 2 measures. And then for the last 2 measures, all we're going to be doing is playing the same chords that we played in the intro. We're just going to be doing like a standard strum of those chords. So E major 9, C sharp minor, A major 7. And how it's going to sound is like this. Twice, and then we're into the chorus. So basically Nathan and Jake on the second half of the verse are basically playing the same thing, just Nathan is arpeggiating while Jake is playing the full chords. Alright, up next is the chorus. This is pretty much the same as the intro, except it kind of starts at a different place. So for Nathan's parts, we're going to be up on those octaves again, just kind of starting in a different spot of the progression. Okay, so like I was saying, the chorus is just kind of the intro, but we start a little bit earlier. So we're doing, for Nathan, we're doing octaves, but instead of starting on the 14-16, we're going to start on the 9-11, immediately slide up to the 11-13. It's the same 4 octave shapes as the intro, so I'm not going to show those again to you. I'll just show you the timing. So again, going into the chorus here, it's going to start on 9-11. 14-16, up to 16-18. And then we repeat the chorus again. And that's pretty much it. And for Jake's parts here on the chorus, like I've said, it's going to be those same chords, just starting on the E major 9. Again, just playing those chords in the same progression, it's going to sound like this. Alright, up next is the second verse. Nathan here is going to be playing a hook for about half of the verse, and then go into those arpeggiated shapes that we played on verse 1. We're going to start on the 9 on the A string, and then we're going to go up to 11 on the A string, and we're going to be kind of barring with our index finger here, at least the A and the D strings. Everything else doesn't really matter, but you play the 9 on the D, so that's all that really matters there. So 9 on A, 11 on A, 9 on D, and you're just going to be kind of going back and forth between this. So this is how this sounds. And that's pretty much it. You're just going in between those 3 notes. Then it's going to go down to 4 on the A string, and we got a bit of a stretch up to 7 here. And it's kind of the same thing. We're going back and forth between some notes, and then we're going to add on one more, so it's going to be 4 on the A, 7 on the A. And again, we need to bar with our index finger because we're going to 4 on the D string here. So this is how it sounds. And then here, instead of just going kind of back and forth like we did on that first shape, we're actually going to go to 6 on the D string here. Oh, that was nice. And I'll show you here how we add that. Right here. And then we go back to 7 on the A. So one more time, it's going to sound like this. And that is that shape. Finally, the last one we're going to go to, we're going to slide from 7 on the E down to 5 on the E. We got to stretch up to 9 on the A. Right back to 5 on the E. 7 on the E. Back to 5. So that whole shaping from the top is going to sound like this. And that's that. So it's those three. I'll do it from the top for those three. This is how it's going to sound. And then that repeats one more time. All right, and so for the last 2 times, we're going to do the same exact arpeggiation part that we did at the end of verse 1. So again, just starting at this shape, then going to the C sharp minor shape. It would help if I didn't play the muted string, and then back to the A major 7. And if you need more practice on that, head back to the verse 1 portion. But basically, we're going to do that 2 times. And that is verse 2 for Nathan. Jake's parts for this verse are pretty similar to verse 1. He's going to be sitting out for about half of the verse and then come in just strumming those same chords. All right, and then next we're back into the chorus. This chorus, however, kind of has the same break as the intro. There's no instrumentation, and then we come in kind of where the intro comes in. So let's dive into that. All right, so like I was saying, we have the same kind of break that we do in the intro. It kind of skips the E major 9 and starts, E major 9 is right here, and then it starts on the C sharp minor. So once that does, for Nathan, we're going to be starting, just like we were on the intro, on the 14-16 octave, and then going up to the 16-18. So, I mean, from there, it's literally the same as the intro. So if you need more practice there, just hit the intro. And just to be clear, for Nathan's parts for the second chorus, we're starting on the same exact progression that we've always played, just starting on the C sharp minor, going to the A major 7, and then back to the A major 9. Up next, we have the instrumental. All right, Nathan here is going to be playing some like quick octaves. So let me show you how to do that. All right, so Nathan's parts here on this little kind of mini instrumental, we're going to be back to octaves, except it's going to be a little bit different. We're going to be using some of those main octaves that we learned earlier, starting with 9-11, 11-13, 14-16. It's going to be played a little bit differently though. You're going to be switching octaves pretty much every beat. So what that's going to sound like is this. Just like that. And then after a couple times of doing that, again, I'll go from the top just so you can get the entire timing down. After a couple times of that, you're actually going to be switching to some higher up octaves. Starting with 14-16, then 16-18, then up to 19-21. We got a bit of a high board here. Same kind of format though, we're just hitting it, switching every beat. So let me play it all the way through just so you can kind of get an idea of how it sounds. So yeah, that's the instrumental for Nathan. A couple things to note is it doesn't go all the way down to the 9-11 before it switches to the higher up ones. It kind of stops on the 11-13 and then you shoot up to the high ones here. And then also it just ends on the 11-13 here. We kind of ring that out a couple times just like I just played. All right, for the instrumental here, Jake actually has a bit of a lead, so let's go ahead and learn that. All right, so it starts with a low E, and we let that ring out basically until we hit a note on the E. So low E, 13 on D, and we're going to bend up and down just like this. We're basically going to bend to the 14th note and then back down, so it's going to sound like this. So it's going to be low E, 11 on A, 12 on the E, 14 on the E, 11 on A, and then 14 on A. So all together, it's going to sound like this. So we do that twice. And then this part, we're just going to do a little slide up. We're starting on 11 on the G, and then 13 on the D. So it's going to be like this. And we're going to slide up to 14 on the D and 13 on the G. So just like this. And then we just kind of play that until the end of the instrumental. So it's going to sound like this. And then on the cover, I played just like I rang out on a low E at the end of the instrumental there, but I think like a high E here, like an octave up, would sound good since, I mean, we're already there. So altogether, it's gonna sound like this. That is Jake's part on the instrumental. Alright, up next we have what I would call the bridge of the song. And this is just going to be lead parts. Alright, so for this part, we're going to break it up into 4 measures. These 4 measures are repeated over and over again, but let's get the basic structure down. So Nathan and Jake are both playing these 4 measures, alternating from the melody to a harmony, okay? Nathan is going to start on the melody for 2 measures, then switch to a harmony for 2. Jake, however, is going to start on a harmony for 2, and then take over the melody for the last 2. And then that same structure is repeated over and over again. So let's get into that. So starting with Nathan here, again, he's starting on the melody. And Jake is going to be playing this, so pay attention. And I'll just kind of go through all the notes that we're going to play just in a row, and then go more over the timing afterwards. So 13 on the G, 16 on the G, back to 13, 14 on the D, 16 on the D, back to 13 on the G, 16D, 14D, 16A, 14A. And we hit that twice. So how that's going to sound is this. So that's the melody part. We're going to play that twice. Then after that, switch to a harmony. That's going to start on the 16 on the D and go up to that 13 on the G. Back to 16. 14 on D, 16 on A, and we're going to go back and forth here. 14A, 12 on A, 11A. So altogether it's like this. So let me do Nathan's part from the top here. And again, it's 4 measures, so. So that's Nathan's part. And for Jake's part here, again, we're going to be starting on a harmony and then pick up the melody again when Nathan goes off of it. So here's that harmony. It starts on 16 on G, and then we're going up to 17 on B. And that's going to go back and forth just like this. And then 13 on the G, and we're going to kind of walk up and back down just like this. 13 G, 14, 16, back to 14, 13, and then 16 on the D, and then 14 on the D. So all together it'll sound like this. And that's that harmony part, and then we just go back, after twice doing that, we go back to the melody. So Jake's parts from the top, the entire 4 measures are going to sound like this. And that is what I would call the bridge portion of the song. Okay, and then finally we have the outro. This is going to be a bit different than the album version, since I did cover a live version where it just kind of pops off at the end. So let's just dive into that. Alright, so going into this outro, we have just kind of like a 4-note little lick that kind of gets us from the bridge into the outro. On the album version, this is the end of the song. So let me just teach you that real fast. We're starting on 16 on the B, and we're going to be barring 16, the bottom 2 strings here, just like this. And we're going to be going 16 on the B, up to 19 on the B, 16E, 19E. And it's literally just those 4 notes in a row over and over again, so it's just going to sound like this. And that gets us from the bridge into the outro. So basically this part, we're just going to be playing, both Jake and Nathan are going to be playing technically the same chords. We're just going to be playing different voicings of those chords. Jake is going to be playing it lower, Nathan is going to be playing it higher and on different strings. So the progression is E, F sharp minor, A. And let's start with Nathan's parts. The voicing I have for E here is just the inversion of E. So it's going to start on 9 on the B, then 9 on the G, and then we're going to play 7 on the A string, and we're going to be muting the D with our index finger right here. So it's going to sound like this. And that's one thing I've learned with playing guitar, especially when you have like a rhythm and a lead guitar, is that less is more. So like I could technically play like the entire bar chord of E here, but just by playing less here and letting my other guitar player complement what that's playing leads it to sounding really good. So you can play this E, you can play like any voicing of this you want, you can play it like this. I mean, you could just, I don't know, that doesn't sound very good. You can play these. It's up to you, but on the cover I played it like this. And then next we're going to go into the inversion of F sharp minor. It's the same format of that C sharp minor inversion we learned, just the F sharp minor. So it's going to be 10 on the B, 9 on the G, and then 9 on the A. So with those 3 strings and the D muted, it's going to sound like this. And then, very simple, to go to an A here, all we have to do is lift up the middle finger, and then we put our index finger down on 7 on the D string, and that is an A. And then we want to make sure to only be playing those 3. So if you need to mute the E and the A with your middle finger, that's typically what I do, so I can still play it hard. But yeah, that is an A. So altogether, it's going to sound like this. E, F sharp minor, Nathan's parts. So yeah, Jake is playing the same chords as Nathan, the E, F sharp minor, A, just kind of different voicings of it. So we're just going to be playing just a vanilla E. Nice deep E there. And then after that, the F sharp minor voicing that I played in the cover was kind of a minimalistic one. It's 4 on the A, 4 on the D, and then 2 on the G, and then that's it. I don't play the low E, but I play the rest of the chord, or the rest of the strings. We get kind of that voicing there. And then we're back to the tried and true A major 7. So all together, it sounds like this. Alright, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this kind of thing, please let me know, because I'd be super happy to make it for at least the rest of the songs that I covered. So just comment down below if this is something that you'd like me to make more of. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.